introduced ourselves, and partly because of the respect we have for them. As Kenyans and also as Follap, I'm going to request that they register their presence in the room officially. So who will help me take this microphone to... before you take it to Professor Lumumba, kindly take it to the gentleman next to Valerie. They usually, oh yes, they usually, and when they are inviting one another to the pod, they usually say, come and mesmerize us.
Good morning, my name is Evans. I'm affiliated to the University of Nairobi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, PLO Lumumba. I think I'm invited because I serve in the board of the journal.
Yes.
Thank you. God bless.
Yes. Thank you so much. Professor PLO, you usually remind me of a certain character in Chinua Achebe's Antilles of the Savannah. That editor who is invited to go and give the talk at the university, he's called Ikem Osodi. I'm sure you know that excerpt, eh? And the discussion about the imperatives of the struggle, and the story of the fight between the leopard and the Tatars, right? All right. Yes, do we have any person who is new? No, we don't. So, oh, okay.
I'm not new, but I did not introduce myself yesterday. My name is Nelias Njoguna from Kituo cha Sheria.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So, I think we just need to agree on rules of engagement today, that we make the presentation succinct, and so that then at least we can recover what we lost yesterday, and thereafter we move on to the discussions that we have for today. Ms. Betty Okero, you had a suggestion which is great, but we have not been practicing it. Do you just mind sharing with me what that discussion about the presenters moving forward? And I was telling you that in the past conferences, we've always had presenters coming from the woods instead of, first of all, having them here. Where is the microphone? Just share. No, I want us to have an yes. No, just a minute. Just let her just share and then we move on. Make sense? Yes. Yeah. But so... Okay. Yes, yes, Prof. Oh, okay. 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 All right. So then, so what do we say? Do we call them even now to the front? Okay. So then, with that, then we have for the morning session, we have We have Dr. Victoria Lihiru. She will be presenting online. We have Dr. Miyawa Maxwell, and then we have Dr. Joseph Wamarwa. Dr. Joseph Wamarwa presentation is the one that is already on the screen. So we are going to start with him as we get Dr. Miyawa and also Dr. Lihiru. So, Daktari, just come forward and start with your presentation as we fix, the other guys. Thank you so much. And no, she's yet. We are yet to fix her, so that as he continues, then we fix her. Yeah. So just come and start. Let's hope for beautiful deliberations today.
Good morning, everyone. What did I do? Oh, okay. I haven't done what I did. Good morning, everyone. I have projected that's my school, Moi University School of Law, Annex campus is this. There are many of you who have never been to Moi University. This is it. Or some of you came there before we chose to be compliant. Today I want to ask that, I have just about 12 slides, and I want to ask, we have 50+1 in our constitution. Do we now experience democracy more, or there could be marginalization resulting from this requirement? I posit that yes, there is marginalization, and yes, there are certain models of democracy that can address these issues. Once we are done, yes. And with that, what did I do? Was that me? As it happens, I will start by a quote from just an outline of what it is I want to talk about. Let us redefine democracy, and then look at the Kenyan democracy, and then look at 2010, the model of democracy in the 2010 Constitution. And then I'm asking us that, must a democracy be a zero-sum game? Are we there must we win or win? And then, are there alternative models of democracy that are applicable to this nation? And then finally, addressing the 50 plus or minus 1. 50 plus or minus 1. With that, we are ready to go. And okay, I can now continue. Now, I want to quote from Chinua Achebe as a man of the people. And if you know about Chinua Achebe in 1966 and the Biafran War, and he says, he quotes of what a dog said to another: if I fall for you this time and you fall for me the next time, then I know it's a play and not a fight. Should democracies be that way, or it must be a fight that ends up with I winning and you losing, and I don't care whether you feel it or not? And then I also want to ask I want us to reflect of the nirvana that Plato or Socrates dreamed of, when he thought that there would be a time when we would have king philosophers. We would have, and princes of this world would have the spirit and the power of philosophy. Until that happens, then we will have challenges. And with that, I want to ask that we define what democracy is. And well, its Greek origins, we have the demos and kratos, where we're talking of rule by people. Rule by people. So then the question is, what do we mean by rule by people? In the Athenian city, it was possible that people come together and make decisions collectively. But even as, those are the nation states of Greece. But then things changed. But then there was also a requirement that the electorate, even as they made their decisions, were enlightened. And that's why when Socrates is condemned to die by the rule of the people, he decides to subject himself to that plight. Yet he questions the wisdom in it. And of course, then we talk about the Treaty of Westphalia and the nation states negotiating their place within to end a 30-year war. And then, of course, American democracy and how the Americans crystallized democracy as we know it. And for them, they redefined democracy to mean ruled by majority while the minority have their say. So much so that if you understand democracy, it must not be, the modern concept of democracy as we know it and as it's practiced now is mostly American than it is Greek. And then, of course, let us look at the post-colonial African democracies and the challenges that we have with multinational states. And therefore, then, I also want to ask that if you come to Kenya, I want us to remember the fight we had for independence, how it failed, and then we decided then to engage and negotiated our democracy through the Lancaster House Conferences, 1960, 1962, 62, and 63. And one of the issues that was was challenging was how are we going to come up with a nation state that is going to be respectful of minorities. You remember the KADU position, led by Moi and Ronald Ngala, that insisted that the only way we will ensure that we protect the minorities if we had Majimbo. And then, of course, the KANU, with the ethnic majority of the Luo and the Kikuyu, said, no problem, let us give them what they want. But as soon as we came to Kenya, what they did was to bastardize the constitution. And as a result, we had a majoritarian democracy or majoritarian dictatorship from 1964 to 1962. And then we had rule by the minority, 1992 to 2002. I hope you remember that in the first multi-party elections of 1992, I think Moi had about 40-something percent, or maybe 30-something percent. He led by, I think, 30 or 40-something percent. And then he ruled with that. In 1997, it was even worse. And then 2002, that changes. But then 2007, it is contested, but people also say that it was ruled by minority as well, 2007 to 2013. And then, of course, now we have tyranny of numbers, 2013 to 2022. In our divided society, the question that we must ask is, must we accept majoritarian rule, whether it's a dictatorship or democracy, to continue? And I think that is high time to question that, and that's why I suggest that things changed. How did 2010 change things? We went to America and we didn't care. We came and then just brought in their system here. And something that happens in the US that may not happen here is that you can be governor. If you're a political leader, as you run for presidency, you will continue. If you fail, you go back to being a governor. If you are a senator, if you fail, you go back to being a senator. But in this country, you can't vie to be anything else except the president. And therefore, then we have a situation where everyone does anything to ensure that they win. And if they don't win, then the other side has stolen. And if the other side has stolen, then we must go to the streets and make as much noise as we think we deserve to make. Must this situation always be this way? That's my question. And I think if you look at the presidential elections post-2020 2010, whatever. These are the numbers that we have heard. We, and I want us to look at those tickets in terms of ethnic coalitions. I know I've put names there, but I want to ask that we look at them as ethnic coalitions. And in 2013, we had Uhuruto, or if you would say Luo Kalenjin ethnic coalition, win by 50 plus 50.5. Raila Kalonzo, you would say the Luya, Luo, and Kamba coalitions did not win by 43%. And then we have 2017, Uhuruto, the same coalition, ethnic coalitions, winning by 54.17. The same coalitions that lost in principally the same coalitions that lost in 2013 lost again at 44.94%. And then we have 2022 as well. Well, there's 2017, there was what some people have called Uruto versus Uruto. The October 2017 elections, where the president won by 98.28%, but the turnout was 39%. And then, of course, we have 2022, where we have principally the same coalition, the same ethnic coalitions, new names, but generally it was same ethnic coalitions win by, did they win? No, they lost. They win and loss as it is. And I want to ask us to take note, turnout over time. 2013 people were excited. We believe in democracy, we had 86%. Then we come to 2017. In the first instance, we have 79%. And then in 2022, we have 64%. That should make us question a few things. But in pictures, I want us to look at this. And in the pictures, this is 2022. The first is the 2022 elections, the outcome and how the regions voted. And then this was the deeply red zones are the ones that were won by, that was the Jubilee. The deeply red zones were won by Jubilee. And you can see that generally that if you're talking about regional, except for a few places in Western Kenya that changed colors, the same ethnic or regional composition won or lost. So probably then we are saying that we are becoming a serious democracy where people don't make noise even if they lose. There's no discussion about it as well. But the question is, what has the 2010 Constitution done to our electioneering? I want to ask that when you have multinational states, and I want to, what I mean by multinational state is the conception of the nation state presumed one nationality. And in many European nations, it is, except for Switzerland and a few others, Western Europe, most of it is single nationalities. At least one dominant single nationalities and less than 1 or 2% of other nationalities. But now in Kenya, where we have nationalities would be different ethnic communities. It is very interesting what we need to do to safeguard what we call democracy. And I want to ask that when you're talking about post-colonial Africa and the realities of post-conflict societies, there is a need for nation building. And I want to ask that we understand, of course, that a lot of times people look at the state as an intrusion to what we had. And many Kenyans have not accepted the reality of the nation state. And therefore, then when the nation state comes to insist on certain things, then many people find it very hard to accept it, especially if they find that their expression of reality, their expression of their wish does not find expression today or over time. So then can we say that the perfect expression of democracy is, universal suffrage? Are we saying that one man, one vote is the perfect expression of a democratic space and the wish of the Kenyan, of any nation? I think maybe not, and that's why I think that there might be alternatives to the model, the current model of democracy as practiced in Kenya. Mzee, ngoja tu, kila kitu iko sawa, it will come on. Ukisha nini, yeah? Sawa, pole. I think this is the most important